Sugar Daddy JK First Connection. Top JK times Bottom Tae. Dark Romance FF. 11:47 p.m. Seoul. The rain poured heavily outside the luxury hotel. Taehyung stood near the elevator, fingers trembling around the small envelope in his hand. Rent overdue. Phone full of unpaid bills. Life slowly falling apart. He hated this place. Hated the rich people laughing around him. But tonight he had no choice. Room 1907. The receptionist whispered softly. Taehyung swallowed hard and walked toward the elevator. Ding. The door opened. And there he was, Jungkook. Black suit, sharp eyes, tattooed fingers wrapped around a glass of wine. Dangerous. The kind of man who could ruin someone's life with one smile. Jungkook's eyes slowly scanned Taehyung from head to toe. Then he smirked. You're prettier than I expected. Taehyung felt his heartbeat stutter. I am only here for the job interview. Jungkook chuckled softly and stepped closer. Too close. The scent of expensive perfume and cigarette smoke surrounded Taehyung instantly. Interview. No, baby, this is an offer. He gently lifted Taehyung's chin with two fingers, cold rings touching warm skin. Stay with me. I'll give you money, protection, everything. Taehyung's breath shook. He should have walked away. But Jungkook's eyes, they looked lonely, possessive, broken, and somehow, Taehyung couldn't move. Outside, thunder echoed across the city. Inside room 1907, their story finally began. The air in room 1907 felt thick, charged with the kind of tension that precedes a storm. Jungkook didn't pull his hand away. Instead, his thumb grazed Taehyung's jawline, a slow, deliberate movement that felt less like a caress and more like a claim. Money is easy, Taehyung, Jungkook murmured, his voice a low vibration that seemed to hum right under Taehyung's skin. But loyalty? That's expensive. I'm not buying your time. I'm buying you. Taehyung tried to find his voice, but it was buried under the weight of the unpaid bills sitting in his pocket, and the sheer gravity of the man standing before him. The luxury of the suite, the marble floors, the panoramic view of a rain-blurred Seoul felt like a gilded cage. I don't even know you, Taehyung managed to whisper, though his body betrayed him, leaning infinitesimally closer to the heat Jungkook radiated. Jungkook's smirk widened, though it never reached his eyes. Those eyes remained dark, searching Taehyung's face with a predatory hunger that made the younger man's knees weak. He reached out with his free hand, plucking the envelope from Taehyung's shaking fingers. You don't need to know me to know that I'm the only thing standing between you and the street, Jungkook said, his tone dropping into something dangerously soft. He tossed the envelope onto a nearby glass table without looking at it. Forget the interview. Forget the bills. Tonight, the only thing you have to worry about is how you're going to thank me. He stepped back, just an inch, but the loss of contact felt like a sudden drop in temperature. Jungkook gestured toward the floor-to-ceiling window, where the city lights flickered through the downpour. The world out there is cold, Taehyung. It doesn't care if you drown. He turned back, his gaze locking onto Taehyung's with terrifying intensity. But in here? In here you're safe. As long as you're mine. Taehyung looked at the door, then back at the man who looked like he could offer both salvation and ruin in the same breath. The thunder outside was a warning, but Jungkook's silence was an invitation. Slowly, Taehyung took a step forward. What's the first rule? Taehyung asked, his voice steadier now, though his heart was still racing. Jungkook drained the rest of his wine, the ice clinking against the glass a sharp, final sound. He set the glass down and took a slow, measured step back toward the center of the room, never breaking eye contact. Rule number 1, Jungkook said, his voice dropping an octave as he beckoned Taehyung closer. Don't ever lie to me. I can forgive a lot of things, baby, but I won't tolerate a lie. The door to the suite clicked shut, not because anyone moved, but as if the room itself was sealing them away from the rest of the world. The job had officially begun, and Taehyung knew there was no turning back. The silence that followed was heavier than the rain hammering against the glass. Taehyung stood frozen in the center of the plush carpet. He could feel Jungkook's eyes not just looking at him, but dissecting him. It was the look of a man who didn't just own things, he understood them. Why me? Taehyung whispered. The question had been burning in his throat since he stepped out of the elevator. Out of all the people desperate enough to answer a cryptic private assistant listing, why did the most powerful man in Seoul pick him? Jungkook didn't answer immediately. He walked over to a sleek mahogany cabinet and poured another splash of dark liquid into his glass. The amber light caught the silver rings on his fingers. Because you're desperate, Jungkook said bluntly, turning around. But you haven't lost your pride yet. You're still fighting it. He took a slow sip. That's much more entertaining than someone who has already given up. He gestured toward a door on the far side of the suite. There's a room through there. Your things will be delivered tomorrow. For tonight, use what's provided. Tonight? Taehyung's heart gave a sharp tug. I haven't agreed to. You haven't left, Jungkook countered. He moved closer again, his presence overwhelming. He reached into his inner suit pocket and pulled out a sleek, black card, sliding it onto the table next to Taehyung's crumpled envelope of bills. That has no limit. Pay your debts. Buy a new life. But remember the price. Jungkook leaned down, his breath warm against Taehyung's ear, sending a shiver straight down his spine. I don't just want your time, Taehyung. I want your thoughts. I want to know what makes you tremble when the lights go out. Taehyung's breath hitched. He felt like a bird watching a snake, terrified, yet unable to fly away. Jungkook pulled back just enough to look him in the eyes, his expression unreadable, a mixture of cold authority and a flicker of something far more fragile. Go get some rest, Jungkook commanded, though his voice had softened into a velvet growl. Tomorrow, we see if you can handle being protected by a monster. Taehyung picked up the black card. It felt heavier than it should have been. He began walking toward the guest room, but stopped at the doorway, looking back. Jungkook was standing by the window again, staring out at the lightning-streaked sky, his silhouette sharp and lonely against the glass. He looked like a king of a city he didn't even like. Good night, Mr. Jian, Taehyung said softly. Jungkook didn't turn around, but his reflection in the glass offered a small, dangerous smirk. Call me Jungkook, baby. Mr. Jian is for the people who work for me. You're going to be something else entirely. As Taehyung closed the bedroom door, the lock clicked automatically. It was the most expensive room he'd ever stayed in, but as he sank onto the silk sheets, he realized the gold leaf on the walls couldn't hide the truth. The cage was beautiful, but it was still a cage.